Welcome to the Anxiety Ridden Moms Club, the podcast where two moms, each with her own unique style, come together to navigate the wild ride of motherhood, careers, and anxiety. I'm Kylie.
And I'm Gina. There was a time when Kylie and I were direct competitors in corporate America and had different perspectives on growing our careers while managing life and all the things that come with it. But those differences have only made our friendship and our insights richer.
I like to call it trauma bonded, Gina. What started out as a difference of opinions evolved into a genuine connection. Our journey from varied viewpoints to a supportive friendship has taught us that every approach has its own strength.
Now, as co-hosts and best friends, we blend generations of wisdom with fresh, modern ideas to explore the challenges, joys, and yes, even the anxieties of being career moms.
So whether you're a seasoned pro or just stepping into the wild world of parenting, a new career, or new relationships, join us as we share stories, offer advice, and sometimes even overthink it all together.
Grab your favorite cup of tea or coffee and settle in. Welcome to the Anxiety Ridden Moms Club.
Welcome back to the Anxiety Ridden Moms Club, where we learned the hard way that parenting doesn't end at 18. It just changes from did they eat their vegetables to did they pay their taxes?
Right. They might be grown, but somehow I'm still their unpaid life coach, personal assistant, and part-time private investigator.
And today we're talking about the brand new anxiety package that comes with adult children. Less diaper duty, more Google searches for signs your kid is in a cult.
Because if you think you're done worrying when they move out, oh, honey, buckle up. It's just a different kind of ride.
So, Gina, tell me, when your kids became adults, did you actually think your worry would end, or were you just hoping for a little vacation from it?
Oh, I thought I'd be sipping iced coffee in a quiet, clean house. Instead, I'm refreshing my iPhone location like it's the stock market.
Right? The whole empty nest thing is a scam. The nest might be empty, but your brain is still running a 24-hour surveillance program. Let's talk about how the anxiety changes. It's not, are they going to swallow a Lego anymore? Now it's, are they paying rent on time? And will they call me before they marry a magician named Chad?
Yeah, it's a weird balance. You want them independent, but not so independent that they forget you exist. You're basically competing with their friends and DoorDash for attention.
Exactly. Parenting adult kids is like unsubscribing from an email list. You think you're done, but somehow they keep showing up. But I want mine to keep showing up. And I envy that about you. I love that yours keep showing up. So I guess it's a balancing act, right? Because I want to be important in their lives. I always want them to need me, but I also don't want them to be the 40 years old living in my basement. So what do those boundaries look like for you? Obviously, for our listeners, I don't have adult children yet. My oldest is going to be 14 in October. So a lot of this episode will be me asking Gina questions and getting her feedback on, what it's like having adult children. So talk to me about these boundaries.
So I think that here's the thing, I guess, is that I feel like when you have kids and they're young, right? There's boundaries for them, what they're allowed to do, how much, there's bedtimes. That's all part of like a boundary, right? So I just feel like as they get older and it gets to the point that they're moving out of the house and paying their own bills, that's a big part of it for me. You have to be paying your own bills. If you're still on my payroll or something, then there's no boundaries for me. But as soon as I'm off that, they're off of that for me, then at the end of the day, it comes down to where I have to respect the fact that they're living on their own, they're adults, and I would give them the respect that I would to anybody else. So I'm not going to go to their home, tell them how to live, tell them what to do. I'm just here to help. And if they want my advice, I love to give it. But if they don't want it, I don't need to offer it all the time. And I think that's definitely for sure a big deal, especially when you have that they're dating somebody or they're married to somebody. You get in-laws and then you want to come in the home that you feel is your child's home. But it's not just your child's home. So if I don't have a boundary, it's real easy for me to overstep and not have a good relationship going further with both of them.
Absolutely.
It's kind of important.
For sure. When did you require, I say required, but I guess it is required, your kids to have a job. So like that is something that I've thought about, obviously coming off of summer break, Wyatt has been working with my dad. And I think it's been great for him. I want them to have good work ethic like both of my parents did. They instilled in me good work ethic. And, I was working 14, 15 years old in an aftercare program. So I wasn't killing it. I was spending, 2 hours a day there or whatever. But from the age of 14, 15 years old, I had a job, and it's so hard because I'm also selfish of my time these days. And, I guess when they're 15, you're the one driving them. So was it when they got a car? I guess when did you make them get a job?
16. So anything before that, sometimes they would do different things. Like Casey, especially, he was the one who, as soon as he could be cutting grass and doing things, he would go and cut neighbors' lawns and make some money. Things like that. They might go do odds and ends kind of stuff if they wanted to, shovel driveways, if it was wintertime, but it wasn't a requirement of mine. Ultimately, prior to that, you just should help in the house. If I need help with something, you help. If I need something done in the yard, help me with it. But other than that, it wasn't like a job, right? But as soon as you turn 16, there's luxuries that come along with that. And with those luxuries comes you have a car, and you have the ability to go anywhere and do anything. Well, the car doesn't run without gas in it. And I'm not going to sit there and pay for gas, especially when one of the main things that I know I did and my kids have all done is you're 16 years old and you just go for a ride, a joyride. And it's like an hour long of just sucking the gas out of the tank. I'm not going to sit and pay for all that. So they have to get a job ultimately. For the reality of it is that they have to help to pay for what it is they get to have as a luxury. And I think it's time to really start kicking in a lot more responsibility and understanding that everything doesn't come for free. Life is not just, handed to you and you just get to do whatever you want. I mean, we all, as we get older, and we have to have you and I live by rules. You know what I mean? We have bosses that tell us what to do and how to do it and when to do it and what our hours are and what's acceptable and not acceptable. So I think it's important by then. They have to learn it by then. I think it's great, though, that anybody has like a situation like you. See, I would be doing the same thing. I'd want my kids to be involved and helping and that type of stuff, like with your dad's situation. I think that's even better. And especially for boys, I think it's even almost more important. I don't mean to sound sexist or anything, but I just think that boys at the end of the day, they tend to mature slower. And that's really why I think it is. It's not about that, like the man needs to do the work and the woman doesn't, because I don't believe that. But what I do think is that men need to have the reality put in front of them a little bit more, that you have to get up and participate and do things. And their maturity is just, they're about 2 years behind a girl. So it comes a little easier with a girl. I mean, if you spoiled your girl rotten and she doesn't understand, that might be your problem.
For sure. I struggle because, and obviously it's a summer job. He wasn't making, thousands and thousands of dollars, mm-hmm. But I really tried on our summer vacation this year just to make them cognizant of what things cost. You sit down for a meal, and again, my son's going to turn 14. So, he's a growing kid. Like, I get it. But like everywhere we went, he was ordering a $20 meal and a $3.99 sweet tea. And I'm like, okay, kid, but do you realize that that's 2 hours of work? Like, I want to instill in them that like this one meal that you just ate is 2 hours of work, probably 3 after taxes and then a tip, or you know what I mean? After taxes come out of what you're making, and then you tip the waitress. Yes. Like, was this worth? Because when it's mom's money, we'll go all willy-nilly. And my kids have always been fed. I'm not saying that I withhold food and drink, but it's making them cognizant of the amount of money that goes into living, because I can tell why it has this itch to spend this money as fast as possible. Like, he's looking and searching for something to blow it on. And hey, mm-hmm. I am all about like treating yourself every once in a while, but I wish there was a class, like a one-on-one on, finance management, because I feel like sometimes these kids are sent into the world set up to fail. The second they turn 18, they're getting credit card things in the mail, like sign up for me. Like, okay, I had a $200 credit card that I think my mom ended up paying off for me at $1,200 because I didn't pay the damn thing. So like, I don't know. There's my tangent, I guess, for the day, or for the, it's just that I wish.
Well, I don't know if for in your school they have personal finance, like we have it at ours, but at the same time, like they have it here, but I don't think my kids even learn. They didn't learn what, I don't know if they just didn't understand what was being told to them. But they would talk about like a lot of this kind of stuff. And they would talk about, okay, put yourself on a budget. What if you had to pay rent? But I think to some degree, it's like their numbers weren't like what, in my opinion, they didn't really come across as true reality of what everything cost. But it did at least open even more ways for us to have discussions about it. You know what I mean? Like you have to budget and how you would do that. And so I don't know if they have this in your school or not, but personal finance is something that we actually have at ours. And I just feel like when they have this class, it does open up for discussions at home. I can't tell you that it really absorbed into my kids' heads. I don't know that they did and they didn't. I think to some degree, sometimes they felt like, yeah, it's the school telling me this stuff, but it's a school. Like, you know what I mean? They're probably blowing smoke or something. I think is kind of how they saw some of that.
Personal finance. I'm going to make that recommendation
but,
because we didn't. And so they've never seen a W-2. They don't know how to write checks. You know what I mean? Just those little things, balance a checkbook, which I know I'm so old school because a lot of people don't do that now with, electronic and online banking. But I think those are all very important life skills.
Well, I think the thing is that we've gotten so far away from some of the basics. You know what I mean? Like those are basic things like balancing a checkbook. Even if you do online banking, at least you need to understand the concept of how you got to $0.
A debit versus a credit.
Right.
The little things.
Yes.
The little things that matter.
Yes. I think they definitely need to understand all that. And here's the other thing is too, and with my kids, especially the boys. So I would always tell the boys, like, especially if you're talking about what things that they were learning in school and they're learning personal finance, right? Well, they also go through stuff to do with sex ed. And so I would even talk about, now let's think about this. If you get a girl pregnant and you have to pay child support on a Taco Bell income, you probably aren't going to be as happy as early in your life as if you would just simply stick on a condom.
Oh God. This episode just took a turn. So she always talks about that open communication. This is the first time she's given me goosebumps and hives, and I'm going to start turning red. It makes me very nervous because I don't even want to. Oh my God.
Well, here, then I'll share a story with you too. It's just funny. So there was a time when Tommy, he was dating some girl or whatever. And so the kids were downstairs watching TV, whatever. It was nothing going on. And all of a sudden my husband goes into the laundry room and he comes out and he has this rubbery substance thingy in his hand. And he's like, I'm going to tell you right now, if this is what I think it is, I'm going to lose it because the boys know nobody's doing this around here in this house. He's like flipping out. He's like, where's Tommy at? He better get over here right now. So Tommy comes upstairs and he's like, what's going on, Dad? And he's like, what is this? And he puts it in his hand. He said, you got some talking to do about what's going on here. And he looks at it and he's kind of feeling it and stuff, which I'm actually at this point going, ugh, quit rubbing it around in your hand, right?
No shit.
Stop playing with it.
That's disgusting. God.
So he then says, well, Dad, I don't know what this is exactly, but I know wouldn't be mine anyways, because I wear magnums.
And
at the end of the day,
what reaction was he faced with?
My husband grabbed him around. He goes, I think this is a balloon, to be honest with you, which is what it was. It was a piece of a balloon. And my husband, he said, I don't have any other thing to say to you other than get out. And he was like, all he was stuck on was that he just said he uses a Magnum.
Uses a Magnum. Oh boy. God bless it. I don't know if I'm mature enough to have adult children. Let me just tell you.
It's just funny. And I probably shouldn't even share this story because, I don't know. My son wants everybody to know that about him, but, I guess you can be proud, right?
I guess. God, I'm not ready. Oh,
But see, personal
my.
finances can lead you into all sorts of different conversations.
It
You
just
can go
opens,
all sorts of directions.
it just opens the
People and
door.
communication.
Yep. It opens the door and
Yes.
the sky is the limit. I freaking can't wait. Oh my.
Oh, yes.
That's awesome. I love the openness. I love the communication. I don't want, again, I'll say it a thousand times. I love that your kids communicate with you and, I love that they communicate with you and I want to have open communication. I really do. So that's something that I'm striving for. But like I said, I don't want a 40-year-old living in my basement either. So I want to push them. I want to push them to go out on their own, but I always want them to need their mom.
And I think ultimately, that when you have the better open communication, I think they even need you more as they are older because they look at you to be something that's very important that they need to talk to. So I think I think that people kind of don't even understand open communication. It just sounds like, well, it's great. We talk and we have these relationships, but the reality of it is, imagine when you have a great relationship with your mom. So imagine when your mom isn't here and you can't pick up the phone and call her and ask the question and say, I need advice on something. And what do I do? And if you can't talk to them or you don't feel like you can talk to them, it's a huge thing as an adult that you kind of miss out on when you don't have that kind of relationship with your parents,
Absolutely. And my teenage years, obviously our relationship wasn't stellar, but I've always looked up to the mother that she is. And I hope that mine do too. And, when they have kids of their own, they look back and they, I'm sure there are going to be lots of things that they're like, I'm going to do this better. I'm going to do this better than my mom did. Mm-hmm. But I also hope that there are times when they're like, they know how to have conversations and they know how to navigate these hard times, with their children because I did it with them.
Right. And
so many times.
You not only done but even like you said about them doing things differently than you. But the reality of it is we're supposed to look at our parents, take all the good things and stuff that maybe we feel like they could have done a little bit better. You improve on. I hope my kids are better than me. I hope they're better parents than me. I hope that they do better in life than me. They have more than me. You know what I mean?
Tell me about the grandparent feeling.
Well, at first it just made me feel old. But I think at the end of the day, I really do love being a grandma. It's totally different. I don't have to have that same responsibility. I don't need to worry about all the different little things in their life because I trust that I raise my kids to be good parents so that I know that they're going to teach their kids to be good kids.
For sure.
So I feel like it's just to be fun. It's more about coming to grandma's to sneak the extra cookie that you don't get to have at home. And, I don't know, just to have a little more fun. And we do a lot of running around and screaming and acting like crazy people when they're here because we can, because then they go home. So I don't put up with them anymore.
Have you ever found yourself wanting to insert yourself into the way that your kids are parenting?
I don't necessarily. There's thoughts. I'm trying to figure it out. There's thoughts in my mind of things that I worry is when I watch that I think you already can tell what things are going to become a problem for them that I don't think that they see. And so as they're parenting a certain way, there's times where you're thinking, I don't know that that's really the best idea because I can see the consequence to it. And the one thing is, my dad even used to tell me a lot of kids, they watch their parents and all they want to do is I'm going to change things. But really, when you change things, you just get a whole new set of problems. He said it doesn't always necessarily fix everything. Seriously, you raise kids and now they kind of can go a different direction that you didn't expect. So it doesn't mean changing makes perfect, right? So there are things that I definitely see that are different at times that I question, where it's going to get. Or there's things that I think I noticed about my grandkids that I don't think that they even totally 100% realize. To where I can see where things could head. So you want to say something sometimes and then you're like, unless it's going to be something that I think is harmful. Well, I just want let it happen and then they can see what it is. And my husband and I just talk about it, our opinions to each other. We just leave it at that.
There you go.
Because we think they're great kids and we know they're being good parents. It's just, I just worry sometimes what kind of battles that they'll have in the next 10 years. because they see it as they're cute and little right now, which is great. And some of the things that go on is fine now. It won't, not everything is fine when they're 10 and 11 and 12.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. Now, it goes both ways though, because I know there have been times where my dad probably, I don't know if judged is the right word, but judged me with my, second, that maybe I wasn't being strict enough or we should spank or not. I will be the first one to say, you could probably beat Nora within an inch of her life. Mm-hmm. And she will not cower and she will not stop. And she will, that's not a punishment for her that would ever work because she is that doggone stubborn. Wyatt, I feel like, and it's getting more difficult the older he gets, but Wyatt is, I feel like I can guilt him with a look. But Nora, she gives 0 Fs. She's her own girl and it doesn't matter. You can spank her, not spank her. You can be mad at her. Now, sometimes I can get her, on the, I'm disappointed, if she feels like she, disappointed me or that I just am, I don't even know how to explain it, but sometimes I can get her feeling bad maybe, but, she's my stubborn one for sure. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, I can tell my dad's like, oh, just beat her ass. Well, it's not gonna work with this one. I'm telling you, man. There was one vacation that we were on at a restaurant. She was acting insane. And, he's like, do you want to go to the truck? I'm like, you can take her to the truck. Well, she sat in the back of that truck and she screamed for 45 minutes straight. And everybody else, my sister-in-law will tell you too, like we went on a shopping trip and this kid screamed for an hour straight that we all wanted to jump out the car. To where there were probably too many times she got what she wanted that way just to get her to shut up. But she is a very strong-willed kid. So I hope she gets it tenfold with her babies.
Right. Well, and I think that's the thing is you have different personalities in kids. You can't do the same thing with each kid, and which all kids get kind of mad about. Well, that you did this with that one, but you didn't do that to me, or you did, you know what I'm saying? Like, is this really fair? But the truth be told, all kids aren't the same way. I mean, that's the same thing. Like, I feel almost most of the other kids, I don't know. Well, Tommy and Austin were kind of the same. So they realistically, you give them the look and you just let them know you're ticking me off. It's all it took. And then they would just, okay, back off. But they just wanted to they're trying to always do the right thing. Casey being that second child, he's much more like, you want to go at him, he's going to come at you. It's not going to be, I'm going to go at you forceful and he's just going to cower down. It's just not going to happen either. It just doesn't his personality. So it never really was what worked for him, even though there was moments in our lives for sure that you just get so frustrated that you just end up in a battle with him, and it is what it is. Because there's only so much sometimes that you're like, okay, kid, seriously. And it just you just go that route. And Kylie actually has a little bit of that in her to where she's better off if I just simply let her know, like, I'm getting mad and you're disappointing me, like bothers her. But if I was to be like really going at her, she's real quick to be like, oh yeah, no. Like it doesn't work. You just have to, I think you have to adjust for each kid for sure.
That's a good way to describe it for sure. Okay. So something I struggle with even when my kids are with their dad is how often do you reach out? How often do you text or call them? Or do they call you first? Or is it always you reaching out to them? Like how often do you guys communicate? What's that look like?
So, okay. So since my kids are adults at this point in time, honestly, it's where each kid's a little bit different. Depends on their schedules for work. Depends on what it is that, life is going on for them. And I try to always be respectful. So they are the ones always contacting me over me calling them. But like literally, I usually wake up to a text from Casey. I almost always go to bed, even from some sort of text. It could even just be a TikTok. It could be something funny. It could be, telling me something's going on. It just depends. And sometimes it might be days of it's one TikTok after the other in the morning. You get like 2 or 3 in the morning, 2 and 3 at night. And maybe that's all and then I might shoot him something. You know what I mean? It's more that kind of way of maybe communicating, but we always are in touch every day. Tommy and Austin are kind of the same where it's like, they might go an entire week and I don't hear a peep, but then all of a sudden they'll call you 5 days in a row and you'll be on a phone for 20 minutes, 30 minutes talking to them. You know what I mean? So, I think because I talk to them as much as I do, I'm usually truly, it's like, makes me kind of think like maybe I should be one reaching out with them more. But
I was
don't
gonna say,
because
so
we talk a lot.
how long would you go without like filing a missing persons report?
I think that's too different on kids. So like with Casey, if I didn't hear from Casey probably for 3-4 days, I'd be like, something's up. Something's weird. Something's going on. You know what I mean? For the other two, they probably would go 2 weeks before I would say, okay, something's up. Something's weird. Are you all right? What's going on? You know what I mean? Because I would know. And usually I can guarantee whenever I have done anything like that, it's usually like, oh my God, I've been swamped at work. I've been working late. you know what I mean? There's something going on in their life. And that's why I haven't heard from them. But otherwise they reach out and talk to me and, you know, and stuff like that. And, Cammie, she was the same thing. I even know Cammie's kind of the same way. Like I'll hear from Cammie, Austin's woman. Like I can hear from her day after day after day. She might text me something, message me something, send me a TikTok, do something. And all of a sudden, like at one point in time, I remember she actually went for, I think like, I don't know, like 7 or 8 days. And I didn't hear a word. And I thought something's weird. Like something's not right. And so then I reached out and she hadn't been feeling good for pregnancy and just been kind of down, like just not feeling herself. You know what I mean? Like she's like, I'm just almost kind of depressed and I don't like all these changes. And so, but I knew when I'm like, okay, that's not normal. You know, you reach out to me, so something's wrong. I feel like the only time I don't hear from any of my kids is there's something wrong.
No, what did I do to piss you off now? No. Do they cut you off? Do they not talk to you if they're mad or upset about something?
I don't think they get mad at me. I'm too great at
Oh, bullshit. Bullshit. I'm going to open up the phone lines now. Opening up the caller line now. Like, that's not true. I'm sure you irritate them from time to time. Come on. And even if you don't, I'm going to tell myself that you do because I know I aggravate mine. So
I'm sure that there's been times when I don't ever think that I feel like I've been like I said, if it's gone for a period of time and I'd be like, something's weird, but I don't know. I keep my mouth shut around adult kids about a lot of stuff. So I don't interject. So I don't really feel like anything I've ever done has probably been more annoying more than it's been like I've irritated them to the point that they're mad. You know what I mean? I try to be the easy peasy. I don't want to interrupt your
annoying things that they will one day miss for sure.
Yes. And I'm sure I've said something wrong, you know.
And we all do. You know, my boyfriend lost his mom when he was young in high school. And, you know, he reminds me all the time, not that I get irritated with my mom, but even, you know, just anyone like, hey, perspective, lady, like it's not that important. This too shall pass. It's not worth, you know, and I had someone tell me one time, maybe a therapist, I don't know. If they died tomorrow, would this matter? And I think those are, you know, kind of words to live by, to not get up in arms. I want, you know, I again, look up to you and that your kids have such a great freaking relationship and I hope to have the same.
Oh, you will. You just got to talk to your kids, keep it open and it'll all come together and be respectful when they go to move out. That's why you have to start thinking about it now, like why it's 14, right? So you have to almost start brainwashing yourself now that when he's moved out and he's paying his own bills, that's when you don't get to overstep anymore. And that's when there is a line drawn for you of not overstepping and interjecting in everything. And you can't say everything that you want to say all the time. Sometimes just keep it to yourself. Because it's better off that way. Unless it's going to harm him, put him in a bad situation. It's none of your business. You know?
None of it. I got it. My mom was funny last week. She, so there's only one house in between us and, the trash pickup's on Tuesday. And if she puts her trash can out and doesn't see mine, she'll obviously like send a text and be like, hey, don't forget it's trash day. So she missed trash day. And she's like, nobody sends me a text when my trash can's not out by the road. So guess what? She got that text the next week, baby. I'm like, hey, trash day's tomorrow. Do not forget it. She's like, thanks for the reminder. But you know, there was, you know, once upon a time when I would dodge my mom's calls when I was a teenager, not as an adult child. And now if she doesn't answer for 5 minutes, you see all of those memes or TikToks. Like if she doesn't know for real, I'm going to send a search party. I'm going to come find you. I'm going to come down to your house. I'm going to find out why you're not answering that damn phone. So we have a very good relationship. And I hope that I have that with both of mine too.
Well, and I think just like the fact that you have that with your mom will kind of help you have that relationship with your kids, because you kind of know what works. You know what I mean? What's worked for you, and you make sure that you do some of those things.
For sure. Have you ever pretended to just be in the neighborhood when you were actually like checking up on them? Have you ever stalked them?
No, I'm not a stalker. I'm not a stalker. I knew people that were stalkers to their kids. I'm not a stalker. But see, that goes back to even the fact of like, remember, I would tell you that trust is so important to me. So I don't stalk you, because then it's kind of like if I was to get caught, I'd be too concerned that they would look at us. I thought you're supposed to be trusting me. So I'm not a big stalker. If I have to stalk you, you're in trouble. Like if I feel like I have to just waste my time and energy stalking you, you're in trouble.
Man, I get so irritated with mine though. Like they'll be with their dads every other weekend, and I will text and text and text. And it's not like I'm not helicopter momming. I'm not texting them ridiculous things. I'm texting them like, what's an example? Did you remember that such and such is Wednesday? Did you remember you have, and they will not respond. I'm like, really? You got to come back here sometime. Like, what are you doing that's so damn important that you can't respond to it? And they'll be like, well, I didn't know. Well, check your text messages. I know you saw it. You have your phone in your hand 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Do not ignore me. I will come for you. I will stalk you. Don't test me.
Now,
I don't know how I'm going to do this adult thing. Let's see.
Who pays for that phone?
That is a very sore subject. That is a very, very sore subject.
Okay, never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Pass.
I'm going to hard pass that one. That one will be for a later episode.
So I guess, in my opinion, the biggest piece of advice I could give somebody is, by the time that you are at the ages that even you have for your 14-year-old, start thinking about the change for when they become adults. If you don't start brainwashing yourself now to get to be prepared, that if you have had raised good kids, you've instilled what you believe in, then you should know that you've taught them all the right stuff. When they move out and they pay their own stuff, they're not on your payroll anymore. Give them the respect just like you would at somebody else's house. Don't have them dread you coming over to say something to them, to intervene in their relationships and to intervene in how they're living. Sometimes just let them live. Kids they move out and they do things that you don't always understand. They live in ways that you're like, you did not grow up doing these things, right? But at the same time, you have to trust yourself and trust your parenting that you've raised good humans. And the main thing is you want kids that contribute in society. They go to work, they pay their bills, they're good people, they help others. And as long as you've done all those things, then you should let go and just to start enjoying them. It's time to have fun and enjoy and learn more about them. It's kind of amazing to me, to be honest with you, when my kids became adults, that you start talking about stuff and you start learning things that you really didn't know or didn't realize or about them, or something that they share with you of something that they really enjoy, or something that even when they were growing up that meant so much more to them than what you ever would have imagined. So it's special to have a relationship with your kids when they're adults. It's a big deal. And then they are adults way longer than their kids. So enjoy it.
Always growing, always learning, and always having anxiety, it sounds like. So I guess the moral of the story is the anxiety doesn't go away. It just changes costumes.
And the best we can do is love them, trust we did a good job raising them, and occasionally stalk them online for our own peace of mind. Well, you guys all know I don't stalk anybody, but Kylie, that one was for you.
That's true. Because here at the Anxiety Ridden Moms Club, we don't stop worrying. We just laugh through it together. So today we've learned the cold, hard truth. The anxiety doesn't magically stop when your kids become adults. It just puts on a new outfit. One day it's, did they eat enough vegetables? The next day It's do they know how insurance works? And somehow we just have to figure it out.
Yep, the worry just rebrands like Starbucks in fall, same product, new flavor. And let's be real, no matter how old they are, part of us will always wonder if they're okay or if they're eating pizza rolls for the third day in a row like they did when they were growing up. Let's be honest.
And that's why the Anxiety Ridden Moms Club exists. Because whether your kids are toddlers, teens, or technically grown adults who still call you to ask you to dick in my mouth because it doesn't say adults. Okay. And that's why the Anxiety Ridden Moms Club exists. Because whether your kids are toddlers, teens, or technically grown-ups who still call you to ask how to cook chicken, you're not alone.
We'll keep laughing, spiraling, and sharing it all right here because moms don't retire and neither does our anxiety.
Thanks for hanging out with us today, and we'll see you next week inside the Anxiety Ridden Moms Club.
If no one's told you lately, let me be the one to say it. You're not failing, you're growing. You're not broken, you're becoming, and you're doing better than you think.
Thanks for being here today. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love if you'd subscribe, leave a review, or share it with another mom who might need to hear this. You can also connect with us on Facebook or TikTok at the ARMC. We'd love to hear your story.
Until next time, give yourself grace, breathe deep, and remember, peace is possible.